What's up everyone? This week on Gaming Sessions, we are gonna go into more details about the power changes, the progression changes that are gonna be coming forth in the final shape for Destiny 2. In the TWID, Bungie laid out a lot of the power changes that they are gonna change, like Fireteam power, and how that is gonna be cohesive with everyone joining with any returning player, new player, or active players. Sunset weapons will be back into your rotation. From the final shape, sunsetting will be sunsetted, so no more guns that will feel obsolete. You can keep rolling with your old god roll weapons if you need to. With that, power progression will be more accessible, so the powerful cap will be a lot lower than it usually is with the 150. I think it will be more within the 40 light range. And with that power progression, activity power can be disabled or enabled depending on what your fire team needs at the moment. So if you have like different sparring levels of guardians, you can opt in for a disabled light level that will bring everyone up to the same level. If you want to get more powerful and progress towards more power, then you enable the power for the activity, and that will keep you going and progressing your power level and light level. One more thing that is very important to semi-hardcore players to like mid-core players, where they can only play one class, so a Titan, a Warlock, or a Hunter, and usually the game is so massive you can only focus on one character, and that's mostly my perspective in that. I've only been playing Titan for pretty much my whole Destiny career, but now power will be account wide and it will share the same progression while using a different character. So if I have a 950 Titan and I want to switch over to my Warlock, every gear and weapons that will drop from that point on will be around 1950, around there. So that progression kind of makes it feel more rewarding if you're playing multiple characters. As a returning player, a lot of these changes are meaningful to me for someone who wants to dig in a little more other than their Titan. I can now branch out to my Warlock if I wanted to, change up the gameplay a little bit. And if I need help with a certain strike or an activity, I don't really have to feel like I'm hindering the fire team in any way, because we can be pretty much of power level with the fire team changes and how the light level are going to be bumped up to the power level leader. I kind of want to see how those are implemented, and I'm sure they're going to be great for a lot of new players and returning players. Now, with all that being said, let's dig deeper into the TWID and see why Lightfall and the power changes are going to be so beneficial to returning players. So the first thing that really caught my eye and really explained what they're going to do with the power going into the final shape and into the future. And this is one of the biggest changes that will help a lot of returning players and new players, and that is having a power leader. And the power leader, for what they explain in the TWID, is the highest light level guardian will be the cap. So in the TWID, they have an image of a guardian that is power level 2000, and the other two guardians are 950. And as you can see, the adjusted power just above the launch prompt, you can see the fire team level is 1995. So that brought up the two lower guardians to 1995, while the higher level guardian stays at 2000. It brings all the lower level guardians up to 5 below the max. So that's where you see the 1950 power level adjusted. Alongside that, they have smartly redesigned the UI where you don't have to be looking at the activity to see if this is going to be a tough challenge or if it's going to be a team-oriented activity. The power team level and the activity level, and comparing that side by side, is a easy and quick way to see if you're up to the task for the activity. And with being the power leader, any accommodations you get will come at a higher multiplier, I guess. They'll give you more boost. Moving on to the sunsetting of weapons, or sunsetting of sunsetting, they are removing all the limitations of legacy gear. No more sunsetting gears. All the gears that have been sunsetted so far will be brought back up to the power floor, which is 1800, I think, 1900, something like that. But yeah, all those items that you've been hiding in your vault, or like God forbid you deleted them like I did to clear some vault space, it's good now to have more options to just go in and play the game, where you don't have to farm the current meta weapons. You just go in with your god rolls from a long time ago and just jump right back in to the game without really fiddling with the UI stuff and noise around of the gameplay. But sunsetting sunset is amazing for returning players. You don't have to grind for the current tier weapons or items at the moment. You could just go in with all your old stuff that you think that is great. Probably has been part of the decision to sunsetting is because of the fire team power and how that's changing. So it doesn't really make sense to have a sunsetted item that's 1600 light level that will just bring you up to current light level if you're going to be on a current active guardian anyways. So they kind of removed the sunsetting because it's redundant for the fire team changes that they're doing in the final shape. But honestly, I think this is a great way for just returning players to get in. No friction around activities, doing quests, just straight in, shoot enemies, shoot aliens, and just progress your power. That's kind of what you want when you're returning player. All the other stuff will kind of fall into place once you get into the rhythm of the gameplay, and then the story once you get into that. If you get into that, it's a very good barrier to entry for, again, returning players, new players, just because they don't really have to farm if they already have the gears they had playing in the past. So sunset was a needed change, and I feel like that was a good one for them to have a lot of people coming back to the final shape, which they kind of need with all the stuff that's been happening around Sony and Bungie. Another change they're doing for newer players and returning players are the changes to the power bands, and those are the floors for each power cap. The power floor will be 1900, which is the lowest for doing the mid to end game activities. For the soft cap, it would be 1940, power cap would be 1990, hard cap and pinnacle cap would be 2000. From what I understand before, the power discrepancy was 150, so power floor would be, let's keep it at 1900, right? So power floor would be 1900, soft cap will probably be around like 1960 or something like that, but the hard and pinnacle cap would be around 2050, right? So that power discrepancy is being lowered to about 40 levels. It'd be easier to grind, to get your power level up, to do a mid to end game stuff when you get up to that power cap. And from my understanding, soft cap can be easily achieved from doing the campaign. And if you want to do a legendary campaign, you will have a 20 level discrepancy, so we'll be at 20 levels higher, and that should take you to where you need to be during the final shape raid. You do have to grind a little bit, and if you don't know, the final shape raid will be power capped at 1965, I believe. So getting around within 5 power levels of that will get you where you need to be when you're going for the day one raid. But again, these power caps are just not too big, but they get newer players and returning players into the game a lot faster. It creates less friction. You don't have to again, this is all about having players come back and newer players trying out the game and not have any of the, I don't want to say bullshit, but all the fluff around the gameplay, which is kind of insanely difficult to explain for a new player. For a returning player, it's a little more digestible, but it can be very overwhelming just because all the new stuff that they're adding every week or every 3 months is kind of insane. I feel like the power band changes here it's good for the returning and new players. Another big shift that they're changing is the activity power. And this is something that I didn't understand fully. I kind of had to go through the section of the blog a couple times just to understand it. From what I understand, it is to disable certain light levels or power levels for an activity. I know it is going to be free roaming destinations. So it's going to be strikes, open world activities, I think, and maybe Crucible allow you to disable the light level. You could go in with any fire team without having the discrepancy of everyone's light level. For the higher end activities, those will require some power to be enabled, except for some exceptions. They do have a list, the activities that they're showing that can be enabled. So obviously this means that when activity is power disabled, you won't be able to gain any power. You can't over level enemies, and items that are going to be dropped are going to be at the power floor, so you won't get any insane like leveling or anything like that if you're disabling the power. Now, power enabled activities are the opposite of that. You will get a lot of guardians that will probably not be as on par as the top guy in the activity. The main goal for power enabling activities is for you to get stronger and for you to feel like you're getting stronger throughout the activity. All those like higher end activities are going to be powered enabled to give you the feeling that you're progressing through like meaningful activities. For the smaller stuff like the open world, roaming, seasonal story content, Crucible stuff, that makes more sense for disabled power level because it doesn't have that insanely high thinking puzzles that you've seen in raids and dungeons, sometimes in like Grandmaster Nightfalls and stuff like that. And again, this is where Bungie is catering to the returning players and even new players, because disabling power for an activity isn't really a thing, but now that I feel like they want more players to come in, new, old, returning, whatever it is, they kind of have had to add something that will get, you know, the non-active players coming in feeling like they have a place and feeling like they're doing something within the activity. They're helping the community out while just playing the game and not like focusing on being like the best raider, the best dungeoneer, or whatever it is, right? They could just focus on returning to the game, having fun with it, and then after those fall into place, if they want to go into deeper stuff, meaningful content, and like, progress their light level, they would need to be more engaged with Destiny 2. But this gives a good balance of returning players and the really OG active players that want a challenge. And the last thing that I think that will get a lot of people coming back or the new players playing more is power is account wide. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I mainly played Titan, and I do have a Warlock, but that I haven't been played it in a very, very long time, and it just kind of gets stale when you're only playing Titan. You do have subclasses to change and manipulate. It's not the same as having a Titan and then a Warlock changing back to back. It's It's a different feel of gameplay. But now in the final shape, we don't really have to juggle two characters, because one progression on the Titan, for my perspective, will carry the power level to my Warlock. So I probably do still have to grind a little bit on my Warlock. After maybe like 3-4 activities, I probably could get it up to where my Titan is. And it's just great for just trying out new builds, different classes, and that creates a longer shelf life for the game. Sometimes you don't want to be this hulking Titan that throws up a shield and have this insane amount of resistance. Sometimes you want to be a Warlock where you just throw out like insane amount of energies and orbs, or fly around everywhere, blink everywhere. It's just a different play style for each. Again, with the count-wide power, it just gives you more freedom to do what you want. I'm glad that they added it for my sake and for a lot of other people's sake, because again, we don't want to play just one class. Some people don't have the time to be playing multiple classes during the week, and that's totally fine. A lot of people don't have time to even be playing games, let alone playing two characters at the same time. Having all these changes for the fire team power, the sunsetting, the count wide power, those are very fundamental to how I play Destiny 2. I usually play one character about a few times a week, and that's not to say I don't play a lot. I do play a lot, but now I feel like I can squeeze a little more in, just because I can play a different class now with my Warlock. I don't feel like I'm hindering teammates now, because the fire team power will be at the highest Guardian power level. And just hearing that sunsetted weapons are coming back, even though I have no sunsetted weapons, I believe them all. But yeah, having all those sunsetted weapons back into rotation will give a lot of players that haven't like touched Destiny in like years, they could finally come back, have their arsenal of weapons. They feel like they're doing something. They're not gonna let the team down. They have some inkling of what they need to do, and that helps with the gear that they had in the past. It's not going to be at the meta that we have at the moment, but they're called god rolls for a reason. They have to be good still at some capacity. So those are the three major things for me that will keep me playing the game until way after the final shape. As a returning player, this will keep me playing the game through the final shape and into the future with all the episodes. And I'm just kind of happy to see a lot more players coming back, see that the Destiny numbers are climbing up again, especially on Steam. It's picking up, and I'm sure on consoles it's still doing pretty good there. Bungie makes updates and expansions so exciting sometimes that I really can't just ignore. They're doing some great things here, and I'm here all the way with it. I don't know what's gonna happen to Bungie in the next year here, but I hope that Final Shape can alleviate some of the troubles that are going on within Sony and Bungie. For sure, I know Destiny is not going anywhere. Depending on how the Final Shape goes, it can dramatically change. Let's just wait until the Final Shape comes out, assess all that, and see how they respond to the community. And that is it for this week's gaming sessions. If you like the video, please thumbs it up. Subscribe to the YouTube video, that helps me a lot. And if you want to catch me live, sub to the YouTube channel again. That I have Twitch, and if you want the updates for me going live and any of the YouTube videos, you can follow me on Twitter and TikTok. I kind of release all of the highlights and some funny moments of my streams and some of the videos I made. Peace, and I'll see you guys next week on Gaming Sessions.